I'm excited to have you all with us tonight. This is our monthly leadership development workshop. Patty Bills is a very special guest tonight to share some stuff she's been doing that's been working phenomenally well for her. We're going to let Maureen moderate that part of the conversation tonight. So, Maureen, why don't you just go right ahead and take it away?
Okay, thank you. This has sure been fun because this is a journey that started literally a couple of years ago when we started looking at there's got to be ways to get people trained and understanding more about product. And we started this concept of using Facebook, and you can use the educational arm of Facebook. And I, in my own world, I personally have to clarify that because people are like, I'm not in Facebook and I'm not really into all that. And I from the very beginning I explained this is truly an educational arm of Facebook. We are just using them to be able to do what we need to do. So we established this Facebook group, and you'll understand more about what's in it because Patty's going to go through it. But Patty was the one that really, in my organization, grabbed this concept and has started using it extremely successful. And she is, I think, Patty, after you go through what you're going to explain, how you get people in it, maybe we need to, explain what it is. I'm going to pretend I'm a brand new person. And you're going to explain, how would you even get me in or explain what it is? Let's just start there, then that'll help them understand.
We'll start there. So thanks for having me, Rick and Aldana. I appreciate it. So this idea just crossed my mind about probably 8 months ago, because I remembered how years ago when I first got into Shaklee, I was introduced with the 21 tape program, cassette tape program. So all of you young folks, you probably know about cassettes but never used them. Anyway, so I listened to 21 cassette tapes over a 7-week period, 3 each week, and was so inundated with information that I just had to try some stuff. So I started thinking, why am I not doing that anymore? Because I progressed to CDs, and then I just kind of stopped doing that. And I remembered that we had this Facebook group we'd set up that was full of informational videos of all types. And so it occurred to me, even though we had it set up originally to bring new members into to educate them, I started thinking, gosh, why not bring a new prospect in and offer them a credit if they do the videos? It just seems so logical to me. So what I would do is I would send a message. Most of my invites, I have to say, are through Facebook Messenger. I pretty much just say something to the effect of, hey, so-and-so, hope you had to go stay with your mom, go visit your mom. I always make it personal in the beginning. And then I say something like, hey, with everyone trying to stay healthy nowadays, I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing a health and wellness video program that we offer, where you watch about 23 videos. Most are under 5 minutes long, and it takes about 4 hours altogether to do it, and you have a week to do it. But when you get done with this program, you'll have a $50 credit to use on whatever you want to use it on. And I would say out of 10 people that you ask, you're going to at least get 2 or 3 to say yes, at least. So it's a numbers game. You don't want to invite one and have them say no and get discouraged. Don't do that. Send that out to about 10 people at a time so you get 2 to 3 to say yes. So then let's say Maureen says, sure, a text, I'd love to do that. Then I write back something to the effect of, wonderful, I'm so glad you're interested in learning more. All I need to do is find out what day you want your 1 week to start. Because once I get you into the group that has the videos, you have 1 week, which is a lot of time because it only takes 3.5 to 4 hours to complete this, whether you do it a little every day or all in one sitting. And I actually put on the schedule what day we're going to meet for 5 minutes over the phone for me to get them into this group. So Maureen and I would decide on a day and a time. I call them up, and while I have them on the phone, I say, okay, how do you normally use Facebook, computer or phone? And they tell me, and usually it's phone. Okay, so what I want you to do is I'm going to go in right now, and I'm going to invite you to this group. So stay tuned on your phone, and I actually go in to the group. Oh, I guess I should share my screen. Hold on. That would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so
Okay, so do you see my screen?
I'm the one that would be going into Facebook on my phone looking
Yes.
for the invitation, right?
Right. So I would say to you, go into Facebook right now, and I go in as well, and I invite by hitting the invite button. Of course, you have to be friends with them already. So I invite them to this group, and I tell them, look for the notification in the next few minutes.
And then if they've never
accept
seen that, you're
accept
there
that.
to show them where it is. Yep.
So there's the invite button. So then I'll see that she pops in because I kind of keep refreshing my phone, and it turns from 82 members to 83, and I know she's in. And then I say, okay, are you in? Yeah. Do you see the beach scene at the top? Yeah. Well, underneath all those little pictures, I want you to click on the word guides. So she clicks on guides. And then and I say, do this every time. Do not stay on the home page because everything's out of order. Go to guides and then click on guide 1. And then when you're in guide 1, which I don't know why it's not doing anything. Oh, there we go. Then you're going to see all these videos as you scroll down. There are a total of 9 guides. You only have to do 1 through 8. And what I want you to do is pick 3 videos from each guide. So this guide, for instance, has 7, but guide 2 might have 5. It just depends. And then guide 2 has 4, but I want you to just pick 3. So pick 3 that interest you.
So any 3, Patty, it doesn't matter.
Any 3 from each guide.
Okay.
Because you figure one of these guides has one about children's health. Well, maybe it's someone that doesn't have children. Why should they have to watch it, you know? So they're going to pick the 3 they want to watch. And if the video is 5 minutes or less, which most of them are, I want you to write down on a piece of paper, you know, guide 1, the title of the video. And if it's 5 minutes or less, you write down 2 things you learned. I make it really easy for them. And then if it's more than 5 minutes, you write down 3 things you learned, at least. Mind you, most people write 5 to 6 to 7 things down. They get so into this, they have more notes than they need.
Right.
And that's okay. So,
right.
And then I tell them, so now you have 1 week to do this. And if you were to sit and just do it, you'd have it done in about 3.5 hours, but you can do it at your leisure throughout the week. And then after they understand what they're doing, pick 3 from each guide, either 2 or 3 things they write down, what they learned. And I tell them, please write the title down to keep this organized so we know where you're at. And then I arrange right then as to the date we're going to meet on the phone again to go over what they learned. Now, some of you that have been in Shaklee for years and years may remember the 21 cassette tape program had a paper, and even the 6 CD program had a paper. They would fill it out, they would turn it in. And you probably are thinking, why aren't you just having them do that? Oh, no. I have found getting them on the phone a week later. Oh, yes, Maureen. Oh, maybe we
Rick,
lost
are you
her.
recording?
So
Rick
I said getting them on the phone and having them read what they learned. And I tell them, if you have any questions as we go along, ask them right when we're in that video, talking about that video. That is such an amazing piece of this because you're connecting with them. They're telling you what they liked about something. Oh, I really like this about this. And my grandmother has this and she would love this. And conversation starts. It is so much more impactful than sending you a piece of paper. It really is. So you get on the phone, you arrange exactly a week later when you're going to meet with them. You tell them it'll take at least a half an hour. And then I say to them, now look, it's on the calendar for both of us. We're meeting in 6-7 days, whatever, on this date or this time. But if you happen to get these done in 2 or 3 days, just send me a Facebook message and say, hey, I'm done. We can meet sooner. We can find a time that works for both of us sooner than a week. But just so you know, the longest you have is that date we put on the calendar for a week later. And then they agree, we hang up. I send them a reminder message about 3 days later. And I say to them before I hang up, I say to them, the hardest part about this program is remembering that you're doing the program. And they just laugh. And I said, what I mean about that is people say yes, and then I message them 3 or 4 days later, and I inevitably get something back that says, oh crap, I forgot I was even doing that. I better get started. So I always send a reminder about 3 days in, and I just say something like, I hope you're enjoying the videos. You know, I can't wait to talk to you on this day. And they're, if so they didn't start yet, it's like, oh, I better get going. And then we meet on the day, and so Maureen and I would get on the phone, and then I would say, hey, Maureen, you don't need to get into Facebook again. Just have your notes handy. I will go into Facebook right now, into that group, because I'm going to follow along as you go through your videos. And I want you to read off to me the title and what you learned. And inevitably, they are writing more than 2 or 3 things. And many people actually watch every video instead of just 3 from each guide. And you know what? And if they did, I don't say anything like, oh, no, please go ahead and share. If you did more, that's fine, share. And I've been on the phone anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half with somebody, because they just wanted to talk about it. They had lots to share. They wanted to talk about the family, or and what this would mean and whatever. And then when we're all done, me listening to them, what they learned, and them asking questions, and they're all done. And the very last, the guide 8, by the way, these are the points I want to make. The guide 8 on this, what have we all learned over the years? That we show the whole picture, right? Product and opportunity. So guide 8 in our little thing here is the opportunity. So here's guide 8. We have Rick's wonderful video. Thank you, Rick, for that. And then I have the Shaklee's opportunity one, the full 12-minute one. And then I have one that was created by somebody in our group called Sharing Shaklee. It's like a little cartoon. It's really nice. But I make sure that I include this. And I'm not going to convince anyone to be a distributor, but they're going to get the information and they're going to share what they learned with me when we talk. And if they ask, well, this was about the opportunity, and I said, oh, no, it has to be included, because even if you have no interest, you might know someone, and I want you to understand what this is. So we meet, we do all of this, and then I tell them, wonderful, you just earned a $50 credit. And they're like, yay, how do I do this? And I said, well, I'm going to send you my website link, and you're going to go there, and you're going to buy at least $50 worth of product before shipping and tax. And then I say, but what is it you're even looking at? Are you interested in feeling better, having more energy? Are you looking at the cleaners? What struck you? And sometimes I have it figured out by our talk, you know what I mean? But I have them reiterate that. And if they at all say, I'm really wanting to feel better and have more energy, then I say, would you like to know the best place to start then? Yeah, because there's so many products, I don't know where to start. Well, the best place to start is with the Prove It Challenge. You learned about it in one of the videos, and that truly is the best place to start. And I'll tell you why. It's amazing. You get, blah, blah, blah. Tell them what they get. Free cleanse, free shipping, free membership. And if it doesn't work for you, you just get your money back. It's that simple. And we all know that the Prove It Challenge is $159. And because you're going to make sure they either find it in your website and sign up that way, or you do it for them, which I offer a lot of times. By doing that, you're getting a star filled in the Star Club program. They pay up front the full amount, and the minute that order comes through, I put a $50 check in the mail to them, as promised. If somebody does not want to do the Prove It Challenge, if they don't bring that up, they're not interested at all, and they tell me stuff they're interested in, and it comes to be even close to $100 for the stuff, and I say, oh, you might be interested in something. It's not for everyone, but if you were to just add a few more items to your cart and get your cart to $150 at the member price, it'll give you free membership, free shipping, and then we have a wonderful loyalty rewards program that you can earn credits back on your account. And I actually go through and explain the loyalty rewards program to them right then and there. I said, it's wonderful. Yes, Maureen.
Hey, Patty. I also remember you telling me when, if they do the Prove It Challenge, you give them another $25.
So that I have done.
$25.
Yes, that I will do. I can't say that I do it every single time, because if somebody is jumping on board and would easily buy it and get the 50 back, I'm okay with that. If they're hanging on around and they're not quite sure, then I have said, you know what, honestly, if you decide to do the Prove It Challenge, I'll not only give you 50 back, I'll give you 75 back. And why is that, everyone? Because we all know that it's going to earn me that $25 bonus The
Mhm.
next day bonus, I'm just giving it to them. That's all.
Yeah.
But to me, it's worth getting the star filled in, and it's worth them getting on the Prove It Challenge because we all know they're going to feel better if they start on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
then
Patty,
the
you
other
think
wise,
about it.
the 150 is just any products, and I explain the loyalty rewards.
Yeah. You think about it though, that I mean, if they do the Prove It Challenge and you're only giving them 50, now the company's giving you $25. Now this is only costing you $25.
Exactly. I really play that by ear, by what it sounds
Yeah.
like they're gonna buy. If they're right into that Prove It Challenge right away, with only knowing they'll get 50 back, I just leave it as is. I don't. But if it looks like it needs a little bit of tweaking to convince them, then I'll offer the additional 25. And the people that many people when I put them through this and I go over the loyalty rewards program, there's been a lot of people that have said, well, now, how does it work if you're a distributor? And they ask me questions about that. And so then I explain the basic differences. And I've had a lot of people sign up for being a distributor. Some say I want to do it very part-time, you know what I mean? But others are very serious.
Yep.
But this program I have found is better than sending them to one webinar where they get information for 20 minutes and then they've forgotten about it 5 days later. You know what I mean? This really gets them looking at all the product lines. And when I explain the loyalty rewards program, most of them love that. So I make sure I take that first order and make it a loyalty order so they earn those first points back. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, for anybody who hasn't done it, I mean, anybody can set this up in Facebook, you know, can set up this group. Anybody, most of the videos that you see on here are out of Shaklee TV.
Exactly.
You know,
most of them
and they may be just things that you really, really like, or, you know, I mean, you get to put in this thing. Maybe this is a good place to say, you know, I worked with Charlene, and, you know, if anybody wants guidance on setting this up, I'm going to get the information. She's out of town right now, but Justin, who really has set up a lot of this, I can get details from him, and then it gets housed. They'll make a course that's housed in I Am Working Smart, and you know, so if that's something, you know, that you need, but anybody can go in and set this up. Yeah.
Maureen,
so do you? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And Patty knows this, but Maureen, I wanted to let you know that I have a lovely young lady in the Philippines for $18 an hour, and she set the whole thing up for me in less than 4 hours. So if you want to spend $72 and give a little training and tell her what you want. And
wow.
It'll save you a lot of time because we spent a lot of time putting this together.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Long time.
She's an administrator for my page that she set up. So all you have to do is copy what we've done, because I've copied what Patty does, because when I grow up, I want to be Patty.
Yeah. Let me just jump in here because I know Patty's got company, and
that's okay. I wanted to make sure if you didn't know if you wanted me to show what I do with that drip system or not.
No, I do. That's what I want you to do with the drip system before you go.
Okay. So now they become a member most of the time. I would say out of every 10, 8 become members. It's just how it is. They just and most of them with the $150 order. It just has happened. So when they become a member, we've all learned we don't want them to leave out the back door as fast as they come in the front door, right? And that happened to many of us over the years. So what I do when they become a member is I have, and I'll show it to you right here. I have an Excel sheet that I created, oh gosh, probably 2 years ago now. It's called New Member Tracking. And I'll show you here the more recent ones. So for instance, when Barbara Pope became a member back on the 3rd of May, this already exists. I would put the new name on there, and then I would send her the welcome email that you can do automatically in Shaklee. And I send my little welcome packet, which is just a new member letter, and I include a sheet about the loyalty rewards program. So because I already talked to them about it once, and I want to make sure they see it in writing. Then I add them right away to my phone and my phone list. my phone and to this list right here, and my newsletter list. I have a newsletter list that I send to people, a newsletter every other month. And I put already a date in here of when I'm going to follow up with them after they get their order. And then I pre-fill these dates in. As you can see, some of these are yellowed, some aren't. So with her, for instance, 2 weeks after she joined, I'm going to send her a T sample with the information. 2 weeks later, I'm sending her a triple defense boost with information. 2 weeks later, multi-purpose cream that I squeeze into a little tiny Ziploc.
And Patty,
with my
this is
sheet.
hard copy with Patty. This is hard copy
Oh, hard copy.
going out in the mail
Hard copy in the mail. And most of
with
the
a
time, it
little
just is a,
sample, with
Yep.
a little sample in there. Yeah.
Yep. And then I have Scour Off that I put a little bit into a tiny Ziploc. And most of these right here, these are all just either a regular stamp or like the T and triple defense boost. It might be actually triple defense boost isn't. Anyway, sometimes it's just a little bit thicker, so you have to use the non-machinable stamp, which is like an extra ounce. The B complex, I put 2 with the information in a little tiny Ziploc. Energy 2, that costs some money. That's like $4 and something to send in it. And what do you send, 1 or 2? And I don't care what size padded envelope, it's going to cost about $4. Joint muscle cream, I still have these samples because Maureen let me buy her last ones. And I recently added youth samples where I put a sample of my favorite morning one and my favorite night one, the rich and the hydrating one in the morning, in little tiny Ziplocs attached to the paper that explains them, talks about them. And then this one, it depends. If I know they have kids and they have not bought the gummies yet, the immunity gummies, I send them some gummies in a Ziploc with the information. And if they have already bought it or they don't have kids, I'll send them Recover with the information. And then if they have continued to purchase from me and have done pretty well, they get a snack bar. It's the last thing. If they don't, I'm not spending another $4 to send them a snack bar. But most people will continue buying, so they end up getting a snack bar too. But what this does is it just drips information on them over the next 2 weeks, and every other month they're getting a newsletter. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but like I'm about to go on vacation to Virginia Sunday for 2 weeks. All these ones that are yellowed, those are ones I've already created. The envelope, it's ready to put in the mail. I have them behind me in a little holder with the dates on them when they're supposed to be mailed. And once I have them ready for mailing, I yellow them. And while I'm gone, I'm going to say to my husband, look, see these? It's really simple. Here's the date. Mail it on that date. And when I come back, I'll just continue here. You know what I mean? I get back on the 6th of June. I even did a few early in June after I'd come back, just to not have to think about it when I first come back. But I'm getting really good results with this drip mailing because people, they'll get a hold of me and say, oh my God, I love that sample you sent, and I'll see it on their next order.
So Patty, is that how many samples total you're sending out there?
Well, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, possibly 10. So it's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks,
Every 2
about
weeks
10 times.
for about
Okay.
20
weeks.
Yeah, about 5 months. And in between that, they're getting the newsletter.
Patty, since you started doing this on a consistent basis, how has your PV grown in what period of time?
Oh man, I'd have to look and see exactly what I had before I started, but I want to say it was an average of 6,000 to 7,000 PV, and now I'm averaging like between 9 and 10. I might even hit almost 11,000 this month, and that's just been since probably. I mean, I would say when I started this quite a while ago, but I didn't start the video program as far back as you see this. I did this before I started the video program.
Yeah.
But I started the video program in December. So let's look. I started that in December. These are one of my first people that did it. This person right here was my husband's cousin's wife that I hadn't talked to in years. And I reached out to her on Facebook and just asked her. And I didn't know what she was going to say because I maybe seen her twice ever. She jumped right on there and ordered like a $200 order after she watched his videos. So so out of all of these since December, I would say at least 90% of these people order every month now.
Well, since you've been doing the video program for 6 months, it looks like you have basically grown your volume an average of $500 every single month. That's amazing.
Yeah, just 1 second. Where is the list?
Denise's chocolate.
That sounds right,
It's
Rick.
on my phone.
No, it's not.
He's the math guy, Patty. Just believe him.
I said Facebook Messenger. This is Messenger. I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm sorry. My husband needed me for something.
I said,
Oh.
since you've been doing the videos for about 6 months, and
Uh-huh.
your volume has grown by about 3,000. That's an
Mhm.
increase of 500 PGV every month. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Yeah. But I really think that part of what I'm doing that's making it work really well, I call it I mother hen people when they first become a member. When I explain the loyalty rewards and I explain to them the importance of, look, a lot of the stuff you're buying from the stores anyway, and yes, you're only in love with the Vitalizer right now, you've told me. But if you add 1 or 2 items onto that to get to that 100, something you're buying from the store, like laundry soap or shampoo, you can change every month what you order, then you're going to get its money back. You'll start getting these loyalty rewards. You can zero out products later. When they first join, I'm in my auto ship list almost every day. And if I see their order going out in a couple days, I go and I look at it because I usually have them give me access so that I can help them. And if I see that it's off somehow and it's not quite 100, I send a message reminder. Hey, you mentioned you really wanted to do this. I just didn't want you to miss out and be mad at yourself for missing it by $10 or something. Oh my God, I forgot. Yes, help me. How do I add something? And I mother hen them for months till they are understanding it and they're doing at least 100 every month. And I have about 70 people that are on auto ship every month that order at least $100 every month. 100, yeah, 100 net subtotal.
Fantastic. Does anybody have any questions for Patty? I know she's got to get back to her family.
You're fine. No questions at all?
Hey, Patty, let's get out of that so we can see everybody.
Oh, yeah. Let's get rid of
Yeah.
that.
Patty, I
Let's
think
not-
people are in awe of what you
Yes,
Yeah.
and you've done such a great job of explaining it. That's why we don't have questions, because it's so easy to follow, Patty. You're just such a good teacher.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think it's a simple process, so I don't know.
How duplicatable is this to your distributors?
Oh, I did want to say that. So when I get a distributor, which I got quite a few recently, I explained to them that if they use my same system, I said, no one at Shaklee does it exactly the same. There's no one right process. A lot of processes work for a lot of people. But if you want to use this system, you are welcome to invite people to do that video program. You need to tell me when you've got someone doing it. Let me know when they start their week and when they end it. But when they end it and you get on the phone with them to do that follow-up call, I want to be part of it because it's my $50. And I'm giving their people $50 back. So they don't have to, because they're not making much yet, right? But I'm figuring it's building my organization. So I'm willing to do that. I've even done with a few of my distributors, I've said to them, look, I really want you to get these stars filled in and start growing. So if you get someone that wants to do the Proof It Challenge, if they're even iffy at all, I will probably offer them 75 back instead of 50, even though the distributor's getting the $25 the next day, not me. It's still worth it to me. But you
Yeah,
have to
right.
play that by ear for your own self.
And how, do you have anybody who's growing with this?
Yes, I had a one-to-one with a guy with a moving company recently that I met through BNI, who's in another group, a business networking group, and we decided to have a meeting and just talk about our businesses. I mean, he heard how Shaklee worked. What? You have people that started buying 25 years ago and they buy almost every month, and you still today make money off those orders? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, hold on, you need to tell me more. And he's like 30 years old. So I explained it all to him. He did the program. So he, in his first month, he found 3 people to do the video program, and all 3 signed up with, well, 2 signed up with the Proof It Challenge, 1 signed up with just a $150 order. And now he has had 1 or 2 more people the next month, this month already do the video program. And one of his distributors that signed up has already had somebody do the video program.
Good.
So it's important to note each person, like Patty, each one of them doesn't have to create that program. They're all using her. Everybody under Patty can use her umbrella.
I just want to be there for the follow-up call. Number one, and have them on there with me. Number one, it teaches them what to say, right? It becomes familiar to them. And I want to make sure their person actually learned if I'm going to give them $50 out.
Yep.
It's working. It's working. If you make enough, or your upline is willing enough to to help pay that $50, I think it's well worth it. Because think about it, 27 years ago when I came in, they were giving $75 away for 7 weeks of work. This is 1 week, and you've got
Bunch
somebody.
of
I
cheapskates.
remember those days.
You got someone in a week. You don't have to wait 7 weeks. That's why it's perfect for the Star Club program.
Yeah.
You can invite a bunch of people and get at least 3 every month to say sure, and most of them will probably sign up with a $150 order.
Very
Patty,
good.
thanks so much for your clarity here and sharing. And I think I could hear this over and over, which I have, but it's great.
I
Do you,
wish I looked better, guys. I've been literally entertaining people all day and almost forgot about this, which is why I look as bad as I do. But I don't. Luckily, I'm not that vain. So
will the gentleman that you started, will he continue with the samples? Do you think that men will?
Oh,
that I don't know about, and I don't want to scare them away that fast. I know, right? Rick's like, what?
Right.
I don't want to scare
He
them away.
wouldn't do the samples, just so you know.
Pardon?
That's
he wouldn't
where I
do the
think-
same.
No.
Yeah,
I know.
No.
See, and I'm sending him samples, and I sent his fiance samples because she set up underneath him. But the 2 distributors that sent them underneath him, I'm not sending them samples right now. But I do want to get on the phone with them and say, look, I need to know what you want to do, because I feel like I should send them samples at least for a while, because I make enough money to do that and I have the time. But then again, I want it copyable, right? So I don't know.
Right.
But I think it's worth
We
the
need to-
time
Well,
with these envelopes. It just is.
the continual
need to-
contact is awesome. Sorry, Maureen.
Yeah.
Here's what we need to do, Linda. We need to get what our masters to talk to the company and have them make available, a letter and a sample. Like, wouldn't that be great?
Yep.
That we could just
Yes.
go into the computer and say, send this and this and this and this.
Maureen,
But then again, hold
Shaklee will
on.
not do samples. It is
But-
way too expensive.
Well, yeah, but it's coming from Shaklee, not from you personally. And there's
Yeah,
something
that's true.
very personal about you putting the envelope. You I never use labels. I always handwrite that envelope,
Yeah.
put my stamp in the corner, and let me show you something real quick. Hold on.
You know,
And while
and-
Patty's getting that, I just wanted to let the Seymour Summit team know that we have that program available to them. We've shared it to them with them. And so we'll be, if you have questions on it, just let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now see, and I have all these folders made up already.
Yeah.
A couple hours one day. Each one has the paperwork in it that goes with the sample. So when I was ready to do it, I just pull out the sheet that I created. Some I just pulled off Shaklee's site, you know what I mean? And use their product sheet. Other ones I had to kind of create my own from if they didn't have a product sheet for it.
Do you
And then I
do a
just
note, like a
attach the
personal
sample.
note? Do you do a
Like-
personal note, or do you just put that in the envelope and
I
send it
just
out?
put them in the envelope and put it in there. No, I don't do personal notes.
Yeah. Whatever, because right on there, I don't know what it says, but it could say, here is another way. I mean, it can be very generic and friendly and engaging, so.
Yep. But you could actually put a little personal note there.
Can you hold those up again?
Yes. See,
Yeah,
and I
so-
just have them, I'm very informal, but I have all my sheets ready to go in there. I try to print off 10 or 15 at a time and keep them in there. And for the Scour Off
Yeah.
one, it's a little bit of Scour Off, and I include like the Get Clean product sheet they have, the generic one about Get Clean,
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
just attach the Scour Off to it. And I include like a basic 8 sheet in there too. The Get Clean one has a few more sheets than just one. I try to get rid of some of the older sheets I have and include basic H in there. But it's nice because here's what's nice about it. If you have time one day, instead of sitting around saying, oh, I have nothing to do, no one's calling me, I just go, oh, I have nothing to do. I think I'm going to do a week's worth of these mailings, get them out of the way, get them there in my little holder with the dates on them.
Watch a Hallmark movie and get it done.
Yeah. So anyway,
Just to give you guys
No,
some
I mean-
context, in addition to Patty having grown her volume by an average of $500 a month, she also, as a consequence, has grown her income by about $1,000 since she started this.
oh, yes.
I would imagine most of you on this call could figure out what to do with an extra $1,000 a month.
Yep. My checks were averaging about 3,400. Now they're averaging about 4,500. You're absolutely right. And that's just over the last 3 months, probably it's went up.
The thing I love about your program, Patty, is because you start with a personal touch and end with a personal touch, and it is from you. And you are making that your connection with that person, because that's how I got it. That's how I got started. Someone would say, oh, why don't you have some vitamin E there? And why don't you do some vitamin C before we had all these nice packages? And it is that contact, that personalization. I think that is your secret in the sauce.
Yeah, I think it is. And the fact that I mother hen people, you can make a joke out of it. I'll actually send them the message about their order, or I'll call them, either one, and I'll actually start it with mother hen moment. I'll even put like a little picture of mother hen, like a little emoji of a mother hen. Looked at your order. You're missing so much before getting to the 100. You know, you mentioned you want to try to do that. If you don't, that's fine. I just want you to have it go out and wished you had gotten to the 100, you know, to get that money back. So you just, I don't know. And some people, you could think this is a lot of work, right? These little mailings. I'm sorry, but Shaklee does everything else for us, right? I mean, they order from Shaklee. Shaklee does everything. If we can't, as distributors, find time to write some envelopes.
Yeah, that's
you know,
really
send
all
them
it
a
is,
sample.
Patty.
Samples are so inexpensive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like, why not? Yes,
Thank
Debbie.
you, thank you so much for doing this. I had a question. When you mail your lumpy letters, do you just add the non-machinable stamp to a regular envelope?
Yes. Matter of fact, if you want to make a note of this, this is important. Hold on. I'm gonna
I think they have,
I'm gonna save you some time here. Make a note of this. When you make up your envelope, I happen to have this thing from the post office that has that slot that shows you how thick something is. If you can get one of those, get one of those. So when I do the envelope up, I have a scale back here that does grams and ounces, and I lay it on there. Most times you can tell it's less than an ounce. If it's less than an ounce and it's not too thick, it's a regular stamp, right? If it's either either too thick or more than an ounce, each one needs an extra additional ounce stamp. So when something is too thick, like this one is too thick, so I write on there machinable, because there's a bump there. I write machinable, and I have a bunch of non-machinable stamps up there. It's still less than an ounce, so it only needs that one additional ounce. So I put a non-machinable stamp, right, run non-machinable there, and it's ready to go out. If for some reason this was non-machinable, but also heavier than an ounce, then I would put that on there and throw the little additional ounce stamp next to that. So I have it figured out. It's an extra ounce, whether it's for each one. If it's non-machinable, it's an extra ounce. If it's more than an ounce, it's an extra ounce. You know what I mean? So I have a bunch of these stamps here, and I have a bunch of 2-ounce stamps and additional ounce stamps, and I just get it all ready ahead of time.
That's doing is
From post office.
I think what Patty's doing is creating when you used to have a store.
Hey Patty, I
house,
just
and
want to
people would
thank
stop
you
by and
so,
get to chat with them in their next door.
Patty,
I'm
I
sorry,
want to
Deb,
thank
go
you
ahead.
so very much
Oh,
for taking the time when you have so many
Yeah.
guests in your home. And
Yes.
we don't want to take huge advantage of you. So we really, really appreciate it. Thank you
I don't mind at all. I figure there's so much business for everybody. Let's just go out and do it. You know what I mean? Let's educate
Yeah.
and,
No, this was great, Patty. This
When
was really,
Shaklee
really
wins,
good.
we win.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well done. Appreciate it, Patty.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay, Patty, thank you.
Best of luck to everybody. Let's keep growing.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks, Patty.
Bye-bye.
Well, gang, the tools are there. It's just a function of using them. And I think the way Patty has done it, especially as it's been emphasized, that is the personal touch at the beginning and the end. I think that is probably the biggest reason why that is working for her. You know, to just do a casual invite and say, hey, go watch all these videos, I don't think has nearly as dramatic effect as how Patty deals with it, with a phone call on the front end and the phone call on the back end already scheduled. But I think what she has accomplished is absolutely fabulous, and encourage any and all of you to use the tools that are out there.
Oh, I meant to ask her, she probably already qualified for the dream trip.
Could be. Could be.
Well, she got to watch first quarter.
Good for her. That's awesome.
And I know she's on track, and she wanted to have the second quarter, so January, March, April, May, June, right? So her goal was to be done by the end of May because she was going to be gone a chunk of June. So she's right on track with
That's
this.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think Linda Rist asked a question that I think provided the perfect segue for
Yes.
a little piece I want to talk about. Linda, you asked, do you think that the guy is going to continue? And the answer for probably 98.7% of the guys I know is no. Probably not going to do that. But I want to talk about, how do you get guys interested in the business? And I don't want to offend anybody tonight, but I'm going to be very blunt. Probably 85 to 90%, maybe even more, of all Shaklee businesses are built by women. If you look at who's on this call tonight, there's 3 guys out of 30 people. So that's 10%, all right? And the reality is that most guys in most households are not the ones responsible for buying the kind of products that Shaklee has. It's just that simple. It's usually the wife that's making those kinds of decisions. So they are not particularly interested in the products. In fact, you know, I think about some of the guys I know who are involved in Shaklee heavily from a product perspective. We've got a good friend across the street, and occasionally the subject of Shaklee comes up, and Jeff's comment always is, I have no idea what I'm taking. My wife puts it in front of me and I take it. Well, guess what? That's most guys, okay? But here's the reality. The vast majority of large Shaklee businesses have been built by guys. And the reason that's true is because guys are willing to talk about money. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking for all kinds of things. It could be a plan B, it could be a side hustle, it could be a career change like it was for me. But the reality is that, for example, people don't buy McDonald's franchises because they're enamored with cheeseburgers. They buy McDonald's franchises because of what they think it can do for their future. And you've got to present Shaklee in a way to a guy that is going to pique their interest enough that, yes, we always have to talk about the products and the quality, and that's what supports the business. And without that, none of the rest of this would work. But I find it interesting, the comment that Patty made, that the guy she attracted is a conversation she had from her BNI group where they were talking about their businesses. They were not talking about product. And that's what intrigued the guy, was the reality that she's had customers that reorder month after month after month, and there's the residual and the passive income. So how do you make that happen? And I'm going to talk about it in 3 pieces. For those of you who've been around me any length of time, and certainly people in our group, you'll just roll your eyes when I say this, but until you learn how to ask the 7 magic questions, you're probably going to have a very difficult time approaching guys in a way that they might even be open and responsive to hearing about what Shaklee has to offer. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to approach it in a way that is meaningful to them. And I think Aldana and I are a classic example of what I'm talking about, because the introduction to Shaklee came because of biodegradable cleaners. But the guy who shared it with us did not just share biodegradable cleaners, he shared the whole Shaklee story. I was in a place in my life where I wanted out of corporate America. He shared the business model. I understood it. And I decided right then, that day, not ever having touched or seen a Shaklee product, that was my ticket out of corporate America. Now, not everybody thinks that way. And the reality is that you're going to have to go through lots of numbers to find the people who are in the right place in their life to even listen. And number 2, be in a place where they want to make that kind of decision. For me, it was a career choice. It wasn't a side hustle. It wasn't a plan B. It was, I want out of corporate America, and this is what's going to help me do it. But you have to realize that there are ways you can approach it And especially with where we are in our country today, where you can engage people in a conversation in such a way to find out, does it even make sense to approach them with Shaklee? If you know people that own their own business or people that are basically independent because they're in a contract sales position, or maybe it's, you know, it could be insurance, it could be real estate, it could be who knows what it is. But the reality is that you can have a conversation very easily with somebody, just asking them, so how has this whole COVID thing affected your job or affected your business? Have things changed? How have they changed? What's different? What are you doing differently to accommodate that? Has it been easy? Has it been hard? And get them to start talking about where things are right now. And then you can begin to ask questions like, well, are you looking for alternatives? Would it be helpful if you had a side gig going on that worked very well with what you're doing now? To find out, is somebody even open to hearing about what Shaklee has to offer? One of the things you're going to discover, and I think those of you who have been around this business any length of time have already discovered the hard way, like we did, that until you've asked enough questions to find out if people are even receptive to the message, you're going to get shot down a lot. You're going to get a lot more no's. But if you learn how to ask questions, if you learn how to draw people out, if you learn how to find out what their goals, what their dreams, what their challenges, what their fears, all of that kind of stuff, before you ever approach them with the Shaklee business, you're going to find that they're going to be much more open and responsive and receptive when you've done that well and you've done that properly. You might also find that you know some guys that you think would be great in the business, but in many cases, a direct approach might not be appropriate. And what I call a third-party approach can be very effective. It would be a conversation that sounds like this. Listen, Mike, I know you're very successful at what you do, and you have an incredible sphere of influence. I respect and name 2 or 3 attributes of what they've accomplished or who they are as a person, and say, I wonder if you would do me a favor. Would you watch this short video? And as you watch it, think about people you know that could use this kind of opportunity in their life. With everything that's been going on with COVID and people losing jobs and downsizing and struggling in their business, I know you probably know some people that can use what Shaklee can offer. Would you just do me a favor and watch this 16-minute video and let me know if anybody comes to mind? And the reality is, it may be them, but even if it's not them, and they come up with 1 or 2 or 3 people who they know need what Shaklee has to offer, you still win. But what you're going to discover is there are going to be an awful lot of people who will watch a video as a favor to you before they'll watch a video for themselves. So just know that in order to attract most guys, it's not going to happen through the product path. It's going to happen through the business path. And the only way that's going to happen is if you talk about it, and you talk about opportunity, and you talk about money.
I just want to remind, what Rick does is when he has that kind of a conversation, he actually asks them when they think they could watch that video for him, and can he get back to them on such and such a day based on the conversation.
Yeah, very
So
much
I
like
didn't
what
want you to miss
Patty
out on
does,
sharing that.
like what Patty does with the Facebook thing. I mean,
Right.
you're literally scheduling a conversation and a follow-up conversation.
Because otherwise you're just, what is it that you always say? Playing phone tag with voicemail or something. You have
A lifetime subscription to their
I
phone.
couldn't think of
phone
that.
message, yes.
That's right.
But one of the things I want you to think about too is that through networking groups and Zoom things and whatnot, I schedule a lot of one-on-ones that are just get to know you one-on-ones. And it's the kind of thing where you're asking questions to find out what they do, how they got there, what do they like about it, what they don't like. I always go through all of that. But I never ask just about them. If they are married, I also ask similar questions about their spouse, because even if they're not in a place where Shaklee would make sense for them, it could be an opportunity for their wife. And we've had that happen more than a handful of times recently, where the initial interaction was with the guy, but I discovered that there would be some interest from the spouse's perspective at looking at this from a business perspective. So just know that nobody's ever going to build a business if they don't hear about it. And it's up to you to learn how to become more skillful in terms of how you introduce it to somebody, because you've learned how to ask the right kind of questions to really draw people out and figure out where they're coming from before you ever put Shaklee on their plate. So any comments or questions about that?
Well, Rick, thank you. I always love hearing from you, your coaching.
Well,
Been
thanks
there,
for your
done
perfect
that.
segue, Linda.
Right. I have a thought that Bruce suggests. He said, people don't go to bed at night worrying about if they have a multivitamin. They go to bed worrying if they're going to get their bills paid.
That's right. Deborah?
I don't know that if you saw that, but the Guide 8 has not only the 12-minute opportunity, it also has just take a look. So she saves the best for the last, and there's only 2 in the last guide, and you're one of them.
Yep.
I just
For
wanted
those
to
of you
add,
that have not seen those videos, and again, I'm going to be a little blunt, but the reality is most guys, and we wish it wasn't like that, but the reality is it is like that. Most guys will not listen to a woman about business. That's the world we're living in. When you get your own planet, you can fix it, but that's the way it is right now. So for you gals on this call, I think you would have better success sharing a man's perspective on the business than you trying to share your perspective on the business. That's just the world we're living in.
Good point.
Any questions, comments?
Sheila had a question.
Go ahead.
just had a comment. I remember years ago, Shirley had a distributor in New Orleans. We were over there, on the Gulf Coast, and it was Diane. And I remember a call when Diane did a presentation or something. And one of the things she said is talk money with men. And I never forgot that. So that's a very good point.
Well said, Sheila.
Okay.
All right, gang. Well, it sounds like we're up against the wall here, so I'm glad you all joined us. And I think what Patty has created is beyond successful in terms of how most people grow in this business. So I encourage you, if you have not been utilizing that Facebook system, if you're part of Marine's group, it already exists. If you're part of our group, it already exists. Obviously, if you're part of Deborah's group, it now exists. Just make sure that you access the tools you have, use them appropriately, and always share the whole Shaklee story. I mean, Aldana and I can't even tell you how many times over the years we've looked at each other and said, what if somebody had never told us about this opportunity? We don't even want to think about what our lives would have been like. It's absolutely huge. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.